list of best places to work, but can you share a little bit about the popularity of those lists and kind of what you guys hear about the list that you put out?
Yeah, Shawn, it's like everything else that we produce. Obviously we serve to inform and educate and keep people in the loop on what's happening in the business community. But one of the peripherals to that is the ability to use our content to build your business. And the lists are a great place to start. So as we produce this content, this is all proprietary data that we gather ourselves. In fact, we have a data reporter that's dedicated to just producing those lists. People use those to prospect, right? Number one, to prospect, obviously for research, just to determine who they want to work with and who they partner with. But, when we're producing a list, we produce top 25 based on some sort of criteria out there. So maybe it's the top 25, accounting firms based on the number of CPAs, right? You've got contact information, you got email address, phone number, all of it, the top executive. And so people use that to prospect and build their business. And the feedback we get is terrific. The big thing that folks sometimes forget is that we publish the 25. We have way more than 25 in our data. So there are ways to access that data and get more of it if you ever need it. Shawn, you mentioned the best places to work too. The event programs are a huge part of what we do, right? So we recognize business success in the community, and people love that. I mean, I think these folks deserve the recognition, but more importantly, it's a chance for people in the community to recognize their peers, right? To get their word out, to connect with people and put them in the spotlight. And so we certainly love doing those programs. And you guys are a best places to work for sure.
Well, we're excited about that. And this is a great conversation. We got a few more questions for you. You can hang with us. This is Deconstructing Dallas, Shawn Williams, Ryan Trimble. We'll be right back right after this.
Welcome back. Deconstructing Dallas, Ryan Trimble, Shawn Williams. Shawn, excited again to be joined by our guest, Ollie Chandhok. He, of course, the market president and publisher of the Dallas Business Journal. Ollie, turning towards the pandemic here, it's my understanding that at the outset of the pandemic, the Business Journal audience actually began to grow. Tell us a little bit about that, and then how the pandemic changed how people are consuming news.
Yeah, Ryan, great question. It was obviously an interesting time for everybody. That right about a year ago, I remember it vividly. It was March 12th. We were supposed to host our annual 40 Under 40 Awards that afternoon, and I was on the way there when I got the call that we were shutting down. So that had to happen fairly quickly. What happened was just a whole bunch of uncertainty. Like, we did not know, at the time I thought it was a week off, something like that. Turns out we're a year later and we're still sitting in here in my home office. The most interesting, offshoot of the whole thing was the amount of traffic we got right away, news wise. And a lot of it had to do with the government stimulus related stuff that was going on. Eventually it was PPP and all of those things that happened afterwards. But we've never seen page views and visits like we had for those first 4 or 5 months, when you're taught like March through September-ish probably. So what it said to us was that, our readers and the greater community were just at a need for knowledge and awareness of what was happening. And our news became a little more important than it already was. So our newsroom, we got to a point where we were working 24/7. We had editors on call over the weekends. And so this was not a Monday to Friday operation anymore. We were on all week, all 24 hours. As soon as news came out, nationally, even regionally, statewide, we were all over it. So the newsroom really adjusted very well. It's tapered off a little bit now, but we've never had this large a subscriber base before. This is as large as we've ever been. We're about to crest 18,000 paid subscribers, which is the biggest number DBJ has ever seen. So it's continuing to grow. The biggest shift that we saw from the pandemic was our events world. We had to learn how to be TV producers overnight. So learning that pretty quickly was challenging. I've learned how to be a television star, a podcast star, much like you guys. It happened quickly, and it was like a necessity, right? There was no other option. Luckily, we've done it fairly well, I like to think. Other folks have too. I've seen some really cool programs from the DRC and the North Dallas Chamber and all of that. So we're all kind of learning from each other as we go and trying to adapt.
Well, Ollie, we had a chance to talk to Taylor Tompkins maybe about a month ago and talk to her about the emphasis that you guys are putting on diversity and inclusion in the workforce and how that's changing your reporting. So can you talk about how the DBJ is addressing DEI going forward?
Yeah, Shawn, absolutely. That is a huge focus for us, and it has been. Before the events of last summer, we had already talked about elevating one of our reporters into a lead beat reporter for D&I, and that was Taylor. And so Taylor certainly earned that spot. She was really building her brand in the community and growing her what we call a beat. So this was probably the fall of 2019. Jeff Schnick, our editor, and I talked about introducing that as a beat. And typically when you look at the Business Journal, you see, healthcare, real estate, manufacturing, those traditional beats that you would expect. We decided a long time, again, before the events of 2020, we decided we needed to elevate a diversity and inclusion beat. Part of the plan was to elevate Taylor Tompkins into that role, and let's see how it goes, right? And what has happened is her editorial coverage has really opened up new audiences. Selfishly, for the Business Journal, we've tapped into folks that traditionally are not our readers. But more importantly, on the flip side, for the community, we're bringing awareness to businesses that typically didn't get the coverage. So as you think about the southern sector of Dallas, we hadn't written about these folks in the past. We hadn't engaged with them. We weren't in the community. By adding that beat, it gave us a platform to engage with different types of businesses, different type of business leaders. And it's really, it's some of our highest traffic that we're getting from these folks. And we're now capturing what we consider to be the entire Dallas versus just everything north of Uptown, right? So it's starting to take hold. We've only been doing this or covering this for about a little over a year. But it's been very effective. We feel like that. We hear back from the community quite a bit that coverage has become very important for the entire city versus just what we traditionally covered. Shawn, the other thing that we did, we introduced a new event program. We used to do a program called Minority Business Leader Awards. It was lacking and we needed to make it more inclusive. So we transitioned that program to what we call Leaders in Diversity. And we opened it up for people with disabilities to be recognized, for LGBTQ to be recognized. And then also we recognize companies and not just individuals. That just happened actually last month. And the feedback we got was just terrific. And we were able to include people that were not recognized in the past. So again, those are just two of the initiatives. We have certain things and some other things kind of in the works as we move forward. But really our role, as you guys know, is to help tell the story and give a spotlight, give a platform to businesses and business people, regardless of their background, to give them the opportunity to tell their story.
Man, that's really cool. I love hearing that. And, hats off to you all for taking that on and recognizing that. Aside from Taylor, we've had the pleasure in our roles at Ellen Media across, me and my colleagues and Shawn. We've worked with Bill Hethcock and Brian Womack and even Jake Dean and some of your long-term guys. So, how do you see their roles evolving, kind of like Taylor's role? Do you see more beats coming up? Tell us about what you see. Give us your crystal ball, I guess, into the coming year on how the DBJ is going to evolve.
Yeah, no, Ryan, a great question. And Bill is our veteran in the newsroom. Bill's been in the newsroom longer than anybody else, including the editor-in-chief, Jeff. Bill and Brian are super vets. They've done obviously very good at establishing themselves within their beats. Bill now at the moment covers residential real estate, and Brian covers technology. Obviously sitting here in Dallas, Fort Worth, real estate, commercial and residential is at the forefront. We'd like to continue to beef up our real estate coverage. So in fact, we've added a commercial real estate reporter who you may have gotten to know a little bit. His name is Ryan Salkert. Ryan covers commercial, Bill covers residential. There are plans to additionally to add on to cover some different geography. Now, we've done a good job of covering, as we're talking deconstructing Dallas. We do want to capture the entire 12 county region. So there are some talks to add potentially somebody in the northern suburbs of Dallas, somebody in the Tarrant County area, just to really make sure we're capturing all of the great things happening real estate wise. The other thing that is becoming an important part of what we're doing recently, we added a whole entire platform called NTX Inno. So that's North Texas Innovation. And what we're trying to capture there, we used to miss that smaller tech company, those startups, the whole venture capital world. We kind of missed that because Brian is covering big tech. We've introduced this platform along with 13 other business journals in the country. We have a dedicated reporter. His name is Kevin Cummings, and he covers that entire startup ecosystem. So as you jump on the Business Journal site, it's different branding. But you'll see NTX Inno, and it has grown from 0 to about, I think it's 6,000 email subscribers in no time. So there is a thirst for that sort of coverage. We just are trying to ramp that up at the moment. So a lot of good things happen in the newsroom. I think the coolest part is that there's so much to write about here. I mean, there's just way too many things to cover.
Well, on that note, if our listeners want to connect with you, if they want to connect more with what you guys are doing at DBJ, how can they find you? How can they see you guys on social media? What's the way to get to you guys?
Yeah, Shawn, I hope everybody will connect with us. Easiest way to find our news site is dallasbusinessjournal.com. Scroll to the bottom, hit about us. We're all on there. You can find my contact info, editor, all the reporters, direct emails and phone numbers. Reach out to us directly. Twitter handle is ACBJ Ollie. So I'm an easy guy to access. If you actually pick up an old school print business journal, you'll find the staff box in there and everybody's direct email and phone numbers are there. So you can reach out. We want to hear from you, certainly with news tips, but anything you got on your mind, reach out to us and we're happy to connect.
Well, Ollie, we appreciate you and we appreciate the coverage. We've been very fortunate to get to know your team over the years. So we want to thank you for coming on and hope to talk to you again.
Thank you, Shawn. Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
This is Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Shawn Williams. Stick with us. Welcome back, Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Shawn Williams. Man, Shawn, big thanks to Ollie for coming on. Big thanks to the DBJ for doing what they do and for keeping us all apprised of the situation going on in Dallas.
We love business. We love business and we love strictly Dallas. Business. So it just seems like such a great fit,
Yes. You are strictly business, sir.
All about the business.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got NCAA March Madness coming up on Friday. I'm first going to ask you who you like. I will do it that way. I'll say, who do you like? I've paid more attention over the last couple of weeks than I had, but I think I may have a friendly wager for you. But I want to know kind of where your head's at first.
Man, it's interesting. When you get to the Sweet 16, it's really it's go time. It's when the Cinderellas, are they going